Hello and welcome back to the Colorado Rockies franchise here on MLB The Show 21. Today we're going to go through spring training of year 2, meet some of our new additions, and find out what the final 26-man roster for opening day will look like. So it'll be a compilation of a number of games that I went through. Our first one is against the Arizona Diamondbacks. We get to see how we compare against a divisional opponent. We finished 5th in the division and they finished 4th or 3rd. I know it was either them or the Giants in 4th place. So it is the Padres and Dodgers who are leading the division. But on the mound to start off, and the first game is Steven Matz. We gave him a 2-year deal from the Blue Jays in free agency. He was okay last year, as starting off this one's grounded to Ryan McMahon, throw to first base Brad Miller there, and good play there by McMahon at third base. I expect that's where he'll spend most of his time this year, maybe a little bit at first base and potentially some at second base, but I think he'll spend the majority of his time at third base. So now we have Sam Hilliard up as he strikes out. But Steven Matz, he was very good when I played with him, and now we have Franmil Reyes, who acquired from the Indians for Josh Fuentes, and he sends this one deep, but that one is foul, so full count 3-2, and this one is crushed as well, and Franmil Reyes will start us off with a home run in the bottom of the second inning. He'll be our DH every single day. I think he was a big addition for this team. Instantly becomes our best hitter, replacing the hole that Trevor Story left. Will be a DH, so doesn't play a premium position like shortstop like Trevor Story, but I think he'll add a lot to this team. Hunter Green is with us in spring training. We acquired him from the Reds for CJ Crum and Scott Oberg. As you can see, touching 99 there. He's one of our top pitching prospects, and I have high hopes for him. I wanted to see what he was able to do against Major League competition, as he hasn't seen any time at the majors yet. And I thought he played pretty well for the most part. He has really good stuff, a flamethrower of a fastball touching 100 at times, and then a very good slider as well. He's still only 21 years old in the game, I believe 21 or 22, so still young. A lot of time to develop. I do expect to see him in the majors at some point this year. Jake Mariznick we signed from the Cubs. He'll probably be our starting center fielder against righties, as he provides good contact, good defense, and pretty good power as well for a center fielder. We send Ryan McMahon here, bad call, but thought we might be able to get a bad throw and score there. McMahon, not a lot of speed. So Dom Nunez up, he'll be our catcher against righties, as he skies out here for the final out in the 5th inning. And I'm hoping for a better season from our catchers as we move forward, as Tommy Doyle's on now. I really liked what I saw from him. He throws hard, touching around 100, and with an absolutely devastating curveball and a good changeup as well. I think he could be a very good reliever for us in the future. I'm not sure if he'll make the Major League roster right now, but he has really good stuff. Another guy with good stuff and a great curveball is Alex Reyes. He was non-tendered by the Cardinals. He has back to the bullpen type of stuff. He's still young with good potential, so I left it the opportunity to pick him up and put him in our bullpen. This one is lifted into right field, but Christian Robinson is on one of the Diamondbacks' top prospects. And then at the end of the offseason, we signed Mark Melanson, who had an incredible year last year, ERA at 1, just an outstanding performance, and he had a stabilizing presence and be our closer to open the season. So I think he'll be a big addition, really help us out in close ball games, and be a veteran that we can rely on. So moving forward into another game in spring training, we have Touki Toussaint on the mound for this one. He was good in AAA for us last year, but really struggled at the major league level. Really a quad A guy for us. And in this spring training start, he did really well. I was impressed by him. Control is still an issue, and another issue is his propensity to give up home runs, as he does here. And I have still high hopes for him. If he can get his control and walks a little bit better, I think he'll definitely be a good player for us and maybe a 2nd or 3rd starter. But he walked nearly, I believe, 7 or 8 guys per inning, per 9 last year, which is just crazy. That number is unacceptable and has to get better. So now we move forward. We have Casey Golden up. He spent all of his year at AAA last year and got added to the 40-man roster and potentially could see some time in the majors. I do expect that, as he has good ratings, still only, I believe, 24 years old, as well as there's Greg Allen making a play. He was another guy who was non-tendered that we brought in as well. Excellent defense in center field and all outfield positions with one of the best arms in baseball. And I think he could be a good fourth outfielder if we have an injury or anything like that. Kyle Wright on now, as this one is missed by Sam Hilliard, so it will be a double. Wright was one of our better pitchers statistically in his short time in the majors last year. Had an ERA just over 4 and struggled with walks, but it didn't really come back to bite him a whole ton. He's similar to a ton of guys in our organization now in terms of pitching, that they have outstanding stuff, but in terms of putting it all together, they just haven't done it yet, as Kyle Wright gives up a home run here, but he throws super hard, great sinker, great slider, and like I said, a lot of guys in this organization, that's what I've been trying to get, is guys with really good stuff that we just need to sort of figure it out, that are still young, and that's what we've done with the majority of our pitchers that we've picked up so far. That even includes Steven Matz. So Alcala on, gets the strikeout there at 99. He had a couple of nice performances last year in the majors for us, but ended up with an ERA nearing 8 in his short time in the majors, but just has such good pitches. His fastball is regularly in triple digits with a great slider as well. Sir Anthony Dominguez, we picked him up in the Rule 5 draft, but this one is crushed into left field, and that will be a home run. Another guy, touches 99, even triple digits with a good slider. Could potentially be our closer at some point. Melanson will have that job to open the season. But if we move on from Melanson or anything like that, I definitely think you could see Sir Anthony Dominguez move into the closer role for us. In this game against the Padres, we had Castellani on the mound. He was good in his time in the majors. I was very surprised. He was very consistent. He walked too many batters, but at the same time didn't give up a ton of runs, and I think he could be very good. Brendan Rodgers up at the dish. He had a great first 2.5 months, I would say. Slowed down after that, but still could be our future shortstop of the next 10 years or longer. This one hit to Velaka at second base, and Castellani would be able to get out of it. Dom Nunez, like I said, I want our catchers to perform better hitting-wise than they did last year. Both him and Diaz weren't very good for us, but that's a good hit there. Now, Pat Velaka, who we signed from the Baltimore Orioles, he spent time with the Rockies for the start of his career and has massive power against lefties, so he'll be one of the platoon guys we have. We have a number of people like that. We're going to be making the lineups as good against each pitcher as we can. That was a goal in free agency, is to take advantage of platoon splits, and I think we did a good job of that, as there's a home run. It was sent out by Sam Hilliard for his second in spring training. He has big power against righties and big power overall. Hopefully, as an everyday player for us, he can really put it together like he did towards the end of last season and continue to contribute at a high level. Peter Lambert on. He's a guy on our 40-man roster from the start of the series. Nothing really special about him, but decent outing for him in this game. Now Josh Spores is in, as he gives up an extra base hit here. We claimed him on waivers as well, and he's a guy that decent stuff and could be a pretty good bullpen guy for us. He's still pretty young and has decent pitches and good potential as well, but was not the best outing for him here and would not end up making the 26-man roster, but does get a nice strikeout there of Manny Machado. Nico Goodrum up, as he was signed away in free agency, as he has great contact against lefties, switch hitter, positional flexibility along with good fielding and speed, and will be playing every day against lefties and probably pretty frequently against righties and relief of tired players. So it'll be Franmil Reyes up this time, strikes out on the changeup, as we're not able to take advantage of 2 men on base. Antonio Santos is on now. He was in the rotation and in the bullpen a decent bit last year. I wasn't too impressed with him at the major league level at AAA. he had crazy strikeout per 9 and was very good, but once he got to the majors, he had an ERA that was not great, and in spring training he also wasn't very good, as he gives up a 2-run shot here to give up the lead as Caratini goes yard for his second home run, and the Padres would end up winning 5-3 as they tack on another run, so a loss in spring training. Now a little bit of player lock, as Franmil Reyes, I have really high hopes for him. He's under contract for a number of years as well, and instantly inserts, like I said, is our best hitter overall. I don't expect him to play too much in the outfield in Coors, as it's just so big and we need good athletic defenders in the outfield, but the impact he can provide with his bat is something that I just had to get. Alex Reyes gets a strikeout here, as he's another guy. I think we have a lot of potential on this team. If everything clicks, I think this team could potentially push for not necessarily 500, but I think we could push for 75 wins potentially and really take a step forward, not have the second worst record in baseball, and be a lot better in season 2. As we lost some players through trade, of course, who were very talented: Trevor Story, Armand Marquez, John Gray, CJ Chrome, Charlie Blackmon. But I think with the smart signings we made and smart acquisitions we made, I think we've made this team better than they were at the end of the year, and potentially pretty close to where they were before we made the trades, maybe pretty close to after we traded away Trevor Story. That team versus this team, I think, could be very similar, with this team having more potential and ability to do better. There's Velaka as he sends this one into left field, as this will get down for a double for him, as we have more player lock action this time against the Texas Rangers. He is positional flexibility, very versatile, and think he could be very good for us. Now a start for Hunter Green, as he gets the strikeout, and this one gets through the middle of the infield. That pitch was in at 99 miles per hour. Green was really the only pitching prospect that I have high hopes for that we brought to spring training. Shane Baz didn't come, and then some of the pitchers we drafted last year also didn't make the trip, but I think you'll definitely see them next year, and we'll definitely see Shane Green in the majors at some point, and potentially Shane Baz depending on how he does at the minor league level. But this was a really good outing for Hunter Green. The balls that were getting hit in play were most of the time grounders, like that one for a double play. He was able to get a few strikeouts as well against a pretty good Cubs lineup. Bodie up here, as this one is also hit to Velaka at second base, as that's an easy turn, and we do pick up the victory here, and a good outing and a win for Hunter Green as Mark Melanson gets the save. Nico Goodrum, doing a little player lock with him. He struggled in the spring. He sends this one to the warning track, but just could not get it down. So he can play every position, I believe, except for catcher and pitcher. So that adds immediate impact. He has very good contact against lefties, like I said, and the defensive impact allows him to really play any position. I'm not concerned about him playing in the outfield like I might be with a guy like Brad Miller or Pat Velaka, as he has the speed and fielding ability to be successful. But here we get a double on from Greg Allen to score 2 runs and give us the lead, as Greg Allen had a very good spring training, I will say, and I think he potentially could work his way into our plans for the future. But we do pick up the victory against the Brewers in that game, and this will be the final game of spring training that we're going to show, as Garrett Hampson with a good double gets back safely, almost thrown out there. But he'll split his time most likely between second base and center fielder, depending on which pitcher we're going against. Against lefties, I think Velaka will play second base with Hampson in the outfield, and then against righties, he'll play at second base with Hilliard, Mariznick, and Tapia in the outfield. Here's a good strikeout for Kyle Freeland. He had a great outing in this game and was very, very good in spring training. Really opened my eyes. He got a big arbitration settlement this offseason, so he's making around, I believe, $6 million roughly. So he's getting a big salary. He was okay for us last year, nothing special, and hopefully he can be better this year. And if he is, we might bring him back, as I believe he's in the final year of team control before he hits free agency, as he hits his pitch limit for the game at 75. So we'd bring in Taylor Widener. That was a good play a second ago by Brendan Rodgers, and a ground out there to Brendan Rodgers, who will play as our starting shortstop against both lefties and righties. Now this one is hit into the outfield, as Taylor Widener is the pitcher. He was signed in the offseason to be another starting pitcher option, and he was not super good in the spring. He really struggled at times, as this one is a sac fly that scores another run, as he's given up 2 already, and he's already up to 30 pitches. Now left blow up, as this one is sent deep to center field, and that is a moonshot home run, as Taylor Widener comes in, gives up 4 runs. So I believe he will start his season at AAA. And Colton Welker now up. He had a great series when he was called up against the Braves with 3 home runs in 3 days. And he was pretty good in spring training. He has potential to play at either corner infield spot, third base, or first base, as he has okay defense, not super good. So I don't know if long term he could really stay as a third baseman. But if he can hit well, we can definitely find a spot for him, as Brendan Rodgers hits a ground rule double, and that's followed up by Connor Joe hitting a ground rule double to cut the lead 2-1. So top of the 9th now, Sam Hilliard up, as this one is popped up right at the catcher. High fly, but easy for the second out of the inning. And now Colton Welker, our final chance, as he sends this one out into right center field. So it does get down for a double. So our chances are still alive, as the lineup is now at Brendan Rodgers, who takes a walk. So Dominguez has a chance to give us the lead here, but he would just ground it to the closer, as he flips it for the final out, and we go down with a loss. It was a middling spring training. We ended up going 13-14, so not by far the worst record or anything like that like we had in the regular season last year. We were okay. If we could be 500 this year, that would be outstanding. I don't think that's necessarily realistic for this team. I don't think we quite have the talent yet, but I think we were pretty good in spring training. Our offense was 5th in batting average, 13th in runs, 4th in hits, so we were doing a good job at getting hits, just not necessarily scoring them. 10th in home runs, as Ryan McMahon hit 8 of them. ERA was about middle of the pack, I believe. The Braves were outstanding in terms of starting pitching, but actually we were closer to the bottom, as it was just under 4. We had some guys who had really good spring trainings, and then other ones who were just absolutely awful. So like I said, Ryan McMahon absolutely tore up spring training, 8 home runs, just unbelievable. Hopefully he can continue that hot streak into the regular season and be a middle of the lineup bat that could potentially be an all-star for us, as he led us in OPS by far. Brad Miller and Pat Velaka both had very good OPSs as well. Sam Hilliard, Jake Mariznick, Nico Goodrum, they all struggled to some extent in spring training, but all of them would end up making the 26-man roster. Steven Matz was very good in spring training and will be our opening day starter against the Arizona Diamondbacks. But guys like Touki Toussaint, Taylor Widener, Santos, Spores, these are the ones that really messed with us. Some pitchers had very good outings, like Melanson. Derek Rodriguez was very, very good, as he had an ERA under 1. Alcala was also good, only pitched 2 1/3, but 4 strikeouts, didn't give up a hit or a walk. And so I thought it was a pretty good outing for this pitching staff. For some guys not so much. We had Yency Almonte struggle. Alex Reyes, though, with a strikeout per 9 over 12, which is great to see. Touki Toussaint, walks per 9 at 7.5, just not acceptable. So when we got to the roster decisions, we didn't actually have a lefty reliever available on our 40-man roster. So I would go out and make a trade for one. Antonio Santos has not been good for us at the major league level last year or in spring training. So we'd pick up Taylor Hearn, a big lefty reliever who throws hard, gets strikeouts, and hopefully can be a good addition for us as we continue to try and build up our bullpen. But we move into the actual regular season, so Steven Matz will be our opening day starter. So you can see we'll go through the full lineup and 26-man roster as Goodrum, Diaz, Velaka, Daza, Raimel Tapia, and other guys we expected to make the roster all made it. Derek Rodriguez will open in the starting rotation along with Ryan Castellani. They both had very good spring trainings, especially Derek Rodriguez. And Rodriguez, I thought about not bringing him back, but he would be brought back and has earned himself a place in our starting rotation. So at AAA, we don't have a ton of prospects here really that I have super high hopes for, but we do have guys like Mike Foltynewicz, Touki Toussaint, Taylor Widener, Hunter Green, and Kyle Wright. So a very strong AAA starting rotation. AA is where the majority of our high ceiling prospects will be, as this is a pretty stacked lineup in my opinion. For AA, we have guys like Royce Lewis, Xavier Edwards, Zach Veen, all down there, along with Blaze Gordon, who was our minor league MVP last year after being acquired. Joseph Joy, Shane Baz, Chiavachi, and Tone Kelly all will start the year at AA as well. I do think a guy like Shane Baz, though, could move up pretty quickly to AAA if he performs well or if there's an injury, just to see how close he really is to being a major league starter. But that is it for spring training. The first series of the season will be a 4-game one against the Arizona Diamondbacks. But I hope you did enjoy today's episode. If you did, please leave a like down below. Comment your thoughts on spring training down below. And who do you think will be our team MVP for this year? Who do you think will be a breakout star for us? And who could be someone that we potentially move at the trade deadline to pick up some more prospects? But also make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any more of the Colorado Rockies franchise. And I will see you next time. I hope you have a great rest of your day.